All right, guys, we got another one, another one here. Can't help but laugh at the home math here, but yeah, let's get into this one. This one should be interesting.
And do you guys still want to get married?
Yeah, men do want to get married. I don't know about getting married to you, but yeah, we definitely do want to get married.
I think what you're asking is, do you want to be married? And I think that a lot of men would say, yes, I do want a partner to spend my life with. But when you say, do
Definitely want a partner to spend our life with, but dating out here in the West is kind of hard to find that person, I would say.
you want to get married, I'm not sure if you're keeping in mind all these extra steps that come before and the possible ones after. Here's a guy living in a cardboard box with his ex-wife in his house with other men.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That is like the picture perfect picture of what happens to guys. And it's so sad, right? These women marry these men, take all their pension, take half of their pension, take half their retirement, take the house, take everything from them, and leave them in a cardboard box on the side of the street. It's pathetic.
Have to keep in mind that happens with roughly one third of new marriages, and that's
One
only
one third, one third, 33%. That is crazy. And then if you look at the amount of first time marriages that actually fail, I think it's upwards of like half. And then of those people that get married a second time, it's like 65% of the second marriages fail. So it is all designed against men, right? Men don't make out on these, right? At the end, the woman ends up making out on these in the end.
the men who have the opportunity to get married, which is contingent upon a bunch of steps that have changed quite a bit over the years. So, in order to get married, you have to date. And in order to date, you have to work and make money.
Yeah.
And in order to work and make money, you have to go to school.
Yep.
And men have been facing a lot of new difficulties in all of these areas over.
For sure. I mean, I kind of know where he's going with us already, but it's stuff I've talked about in prior videos, right? We have less educated men and more educated women. So there is this divergence here, and you're seeing that women are starting to make more than men. They're more educated than men. And we're seeing that younger men are starting to fall behind in this aspect, which leads to them not being able to get a good job or to work and to provide and to have a means of, a significant income coming in, which then translates to them not being able to find good dating prospects, and then for them being on dating apps and not getting any matches. I mean, there's even guys on there that are making six figures, but maybe they're not 6 feet tall or they're whatever, and they're not getting matches either. So, like, it's all rigged against the men, and it's not getting any better.
Last few decades. So, do I want to have a partner? Yes. But do I want to go through all of this again? Not
No.
right now. So, you want to get married, you have to date, you want to date, you have to work, you want to work, you have to go to school. This is where a lot of male problems begin. I'm not saying that schoolgirls have it easy, but the last few decades, schoolboys have been treated like they are defective. In third grade, I used to finish my work before the other kids, and I would get up and move around, and they told me that was not okay, so they medicated me. When I got a little
They put him on that is hilarious. I mean, it's not funny. I mean, it is funny, but it's not because, like, on a side quest here, right? What we're doing with prescription drugs is crazy, and just the fact that that industry is able to be a public entity and be able to adhere to shareholders, right? It's just a for profit and like money making machine. So they're just like, oh yeah, you walk around and you got something wrong with you. Here's Ritalin. Like, crazy, just bizarre.
older, the other boys would start fights, and I went to the authorities to do the right thing, and they punished both of us. So then I took matters into my own hands, and they punished just me because of these policies. They don't let boys just fight it out anymore. Those types of policies are not setting young boys up for success. They punish the way that we natively look at the world. It definitely messed me up a little, and that was 30 years ago, and I have no idea what's going on now. When we get older and go to college, there are all kinds of things in place to help girls that are not available for boys, and they say that it's there to correct problems, but I don't think those problems exist anymore. So
That's interesting. I'm not too sure on that. I know that when I had went to college, I did get some grants and scholarships. But interesting. I wonder where he's getting this data from. It'd be interesting to look at that and kind of see how men and women compare in that aspect. Kind of hard to say with just a drawing here, but
as we are accumulating what we need to succeed in life, boys are getting less of a head start than they used to, which is, I think, one of the contributing reasons for why they say they have Peter Pan syndrome and they never grow up. I think it starts here. When we get into the workplace, there are similar programs that benefit women and not men. And that's an issue because women want to make equal money to men, but then they also want men to make more and support them, and you can't have both. Additionally, the culture has become very inhospitable towards men, and again, the way that men communicate and behave. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the economy is getting pretty bad, and even though that affects everybody, men are the ones who are expected to pay. So
it disproportionately affects men more than it does affect women in that aspect because men are, by design, the protectors and providers. And that's what's usually expected in gender roles. Maybe less now because we have more masculine women, more girl bosses in the workforce, and I'm an independent woman type girls, and like it's just a different dynamic. But there still is those traditional those traditional type relationships where the men is expected to be the protector and the provider, which obviously they're taking the brunt of this.
Puts us at an increasing disadvantage comparative to women as we age. Then when we get out into the dating world, if you don't have any money, that's going to be a problem. If you can't compete on the dating apps, which most men cannot, that's going to be a problem.
100%, because most of the guys on the dating apps are not getting the matches with the woman that they're interested in, right? There is probably a bunch of different women on these apps that are the fridge, or women that are just a little bit heavier. I refer to them as the fridge, but those are the type of chicks or women that guys tend not to be interested in, and the ones that they are interested in, obviously every other guy is, so they're competing with the 6'5", 230-pound Chad that's jacked and makes six figures a year and blah, 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 blah. But you already know that guy is sleeping with every girl on the app. So, like, these girls become delusional because they are like, okay, I want to be with Chad, but Chad is sleeping around with every other girl on the app and he doesn't want to settle down. So now their standards are so high when they're just maybe a 5 or a 6 or maybe at a 7. Their ego is inflated to think that they're an 8 or a 9 when they're really not, because they got with Chad, but Chad is sleeping with everybody.
Not okay with her having an OnlyFans or an Instagram or whatever. It's going to take some women off the table because they have so much attention. So a lot of men are playing catch up at this point in life.
Girls, you have girls that are 5 or 6s that are getting so much attention because just by design of how social media and dating apps are in favor of women and not in favor of men.
When that didn't used to be the case. So our parents and grandparents did not have any of these problems. They just sort of grew up, got jobs, and married whoever was nearby.
Exactly.
Have you ever thought of it like, would your mother have married your father if she had Tinder? Would she have...
This is hilarious. I know, right? This is stuff you probably think about, and I think we've all probably thought about this probably at one point. But yeah, no, it is true.
And him, there's stuff going on in these phases of life for us that would have been unheard of even one generation ago. I once had a job where I worked with a girl. We had the same job. I had more experience. We had layoffs, and later she matched with me on Bumble and came to hook up. And I said, "Would you like to continue doing this?" And she told me that I didn't have my life together enough. We were living in the same place, in the same job market, and we came from the same job, and I had more experience. And she was getting 120K a year to do some like women's leadership job or something, and I was driving for Uber. So, I think a lot of people are really under it.
Yeah, exactly what I had said at the end, the beginning of the video, right? Like, woman, there is this disproportionate divergence here where men are making less than women, and they are saying that men that are making less of them aren't worthy of dating them. They want somebody at equal or higher value than them, right? Usually women want to date up, um, and they want to have a man that is, like I said, the provider. They're making more than them. They have their shit together. They, um, you know, have everything that they want and more, and the standards are just ridiculous.
How much easier this makes things. So then if you can actually get to this point, you as a man, you have to take everything that you've managed to put together over the course of your life and put it all on the table for someone who...
You gotta put it all on the table. And now everything that you've worked your entire life for is now the woman's. It's hers. She divorces you. Guess what? Your money, your pension, everything, your house becomes partially hers.
Probably not doing the same, even though women are not having a hard...
And remind me, what do they bring to the table, right? Most of the time. I'm not saying this all the time. Most of the time, they're bringing their beauty, their looks, their charm, their femininity. They're bringing those things to the table. They might have a good job too, and they might bring some assets to the table. But for the most part, men are bringing all of the the more important things to sustain a family, and a lifestyle that the woman wants.
In the workplace, men are still generally expected to provide, while women generally keep more of their money for themselves. We've all heard, my money is my money, his money is my money. I found this great little video about...
Or the happy wife, happy life bullshit. I hate that.
But I just have a quick question. My husband won't see all of my accounts, right? I have like 8 different bank accounts, but my husband only knows about 2 of them. I've just been secretly saving for years in case I ever need to. No, say no more. I don't need to see those statements. So as far as I'm concerned, they don't exist.
Yeah, so I don't love the idea that my wife might be hiding money. Of course, I'm not allowed to do that. All of my money has to be on the table, and there's about a 1/3 chance that you're going to be taking it to party with other dudes in the house.
I can't get over this picture, man. This is so funny because it's so friggin' true.
Thought for you. Divorce laws have changed too. You used to need a really good reason to get divorced, but now it can happen just because someone is not happy. They even write songs about it. Check this out. I have to mute it for copyright. I'll read it to you. Might be the only guy who didn't send me hearted eyes in reply to my latest story. We work well on paper. We don't argue. We don't fight. But lighting scented candles just won't relight up our fire. And right there she goes, ah. It ain't that bad. It's just not what I wanted. Don't want to live this life half-hearted.
God.
Hang on, here it comes. I want fireworks and flames.
Is this real life? I can't.
Don't want safe, tame, practical. That ain't enough. That ain't love.
You imagine this 40, 50 years ago? Could you imagine the insanity people would think of these people? Like, this is just crazy. It's just crazy, some of the stuff you see online, man. It is crazy.
The squircle of unconsciousness, it represents how people don't know how relationships work, and so they think the relationship is going to go like this, and then it turns a corner. I think she's at the dissatisfied part. You can't have everything is exciting all the time. Good choices are boring. No relationships are going to be fun the whole time. They're all going to have spots where there's no fire. But she don't want safe, tame, practical.
100%, right? It's not going to be a highlight reel every day of the week. Like, as a working adult, you have to go to work 9 to 5. You have to work your job. And yes, you're going to have your weekends and you're going to have your time and your evenings and whatnot. But the most of the time, it's going to be pretty goddamn boring. All right. Outside of like the occasional couple of vacations a year, weekend trips, etc., right? Like life isn't what you see all these influencers online flaunting, right? Like that's not a normal day to day for 99% of people.
That ain't enough. That's not even love. Look how passionate she is about dumping her husband. That's real, I can spot a faker. And she even sings about other men giving her googly eyes on her Instagram stories. So this girl is what I would call an excitement chaser. She starts out her new relationships excited, and over time gets bored when they're not chaotic. And then by the time we notice she's bored, she's already got a new guy lined up. And this has pretty nasty effects on us. So your relationship satisfaction is going to change over time, but your stability is not supposed to. That's what marriage is. That's what it's for. Even when you start feeling like things are not as fun, you have to remember that commitments are what gets you through the swings. I actually have a little theory that this takes about a year. Obviously, we get up and go to sleep with the sun, and women have changes in their hormones and emotions with the moon. And I think that a year is the amount of time that it takes to find somebody and have that strong emotional connection, get pregnant, and have a child. It's about 1 year altogether. And this girl...
1 year. I mean, that's probably about right. But even then, a year to have a kid together, I think that that's a little premature. I think a couple of years just to vet it out. Just you never know nowadays. You really don't. I would 2 year requirement, 2 3 year requirement, at least for me.
A spiritual experience out of a biological process, and she's allowed to end the marriage over it. So it's not that I don't want a partner, it's just that a lot of us don't have what we need to build a partnership, and even if we get it, it could fall apart immediately. She could squircle herself into believing it's not love and have a phone in her pocket with 1,400 horny guys on it, and then I end up here. So what you've done by fighting for equality is you've basically said, hey, you want to play a game of chess? I get all queens, though. Hey, where are you going?
Do you guys still want to get married?
This girl is crazy, bro. Take the makeup off. You look like a clown. Like, nobody wants to marry you, bro.
Like, is that still a thing?
I hope this all made it clear why it's less of a thing.
That was good. That was a good video. Let's see what we got in the comment section. My son overheard 2 high school teachers talking where he heard one say that they had canceled the coding workshop because only boys signed up. That's crazy. Wow. My younger brother and I are trust fund kids. He married his girlfriend while going to med school. I already know where this is going. After the marriage, she changed completely. Exactly what I had just said, right? You don't want to have kids premature. After the marriage, she changed completely. He was doing his residency and didn't want to deal with it anymore. Filed for divorce. She happily declared she was going to take everything he owned. Reverse Uno card. Trust funds are not marital assets. He was broke, med school student, and she got nothing. Interesting. The reverse Uno card here. We like that. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Marriage is probably not in my future. Unless I find the right chick. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. This was a funny one. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We'll be back with more.